Hello and welcome to my Astronomy Nights. I'm Derek, and in this video I'm looking at a really interesting small galaxy in the constellation of Aries, NGC 772. Now it's a small little disturbed spiral galaxy with a strong arm structure to it. Gives it quite a distinct shape of almost like a teardrop or an eye, and it has the nickname of the Fiddlehead Galaxy. The constellation of Aries itself doesn't contain any messier objects. That's not too strange, but it is the only zodiacal constellation not to have any of Charles Messier's catalogue. So NGC 772 would be probably the most prominent galaxy to go looking for in Aries if you're observing within its borders. It's really well placed this time of year, and throughout January and February it's just passing the meridian as it's getting dark. So let's take a look and see how to pinpoint its location. Now to locate NGC 772, the best thing to do is use the square of Pegasus, and we'll find Aries to the west of that. It's that kind of hockey stick shape of stars, with the brightest one being Alpha Aritis or Hamal. We're looking for the two stars below that, which is Gamma and Beta. That's Sheraton and Mercertum, and we're going to make a little right angle with those two stars of about 1.5 degrees. So the same distance between the stars, we're going to move to this east-southeast of Mercertum, and that's where NGC 772 is located. It'll show up in your eyepiece, so if you just get your finder scope on that, say 1.5 degrees away from Gamma Aritis, and you'll just pinpoint it there. There's another few objects I want to look at in this video, and they're called the NGC 680 group, and they're all focused around one Aries, the star that's on the opposite side of Sheraton to NGC 772. So once you have that galaxy located, you can use its position to find the position of the little group of galaxies around that star. 772 is a really interesting little galaxy. It's got quite a distinct arm structure to it, and in real terms it has a diameter of about 200 million light years. That's about twice the Milky Way's diameter, but on our sky it just measures about 7 by 4 arc minutes, and it has a brightness of about magnitude 10. This one was discovered by William Herschel in 1785 when he was doing his surveys with that 20-foot telescope of his. It had, I think it was an 18-inch diameter mirror, so it was quite an impressive size, but I think it was still the equivalent to something like a 12-inch telescope that you'd be using today. So when you're observing this one, you're going to get a similar kind of brightness to the image as he was getting through his telescope. It's also been recorded then in ARP's catalogue of peculiar galaxies, along with those companion galaxies beside it, as ARP 78. Now this galaxy, it's not too small. If you're used to observing galaxies, you wouldn't consider it a small galaxy. But if you've observed, say, the Whirlpool Galaxy, it's about half the size of the Whirlpool Galaxy, and it's quite a bit dimmer. But if you spend some time on it, you will tease out that structure that gives it that quite distinct curve. Now it's nicknamed the Fiddlehead Galaxy, but I think the Ram's Eye Galaxy would be a really good name for this one, just because of the position, and that it's got a real distinct eye shape to it when you're observing it through the eyepiece, and especially when you get your images edited and you can see that really distinct structure to it. There's a few companion galaxies around it, but there is one that you can pick up in your telescope, and that's NGC 770. It's quite small. It's only about an arc minute across, and it has a magnitude in around 13 to 14. I can't get a specific number on it, but I was able to observe it with my 12-inch using some averted vision, and I usually can't get past 13 unless I have a really good night, and it didn't feel like I was having a really good sky night when I was observing it. So I'd say it might show a little brighter than it's reading in books or magazines. So it's well worth a try. If you haven't gone for it yet, just see if you can tease it out while observing NGC 772 itself. A little interesting group nearby. It's only a couple of degrees to the northwest of NGC 772, and that's the NGC 680 group. It's a little group of galaxies that are all in or around a degree or so eyepiece field of view, so it's really worth having a look and seeing how many of them you could spot. I was using my 24mm eyepiece, and I was able to pick up 3 of them, and one of them very slightly, but it was more kind of stellar than it was being able to tease out any of that kind of galaxy view. But the others, you could really see that mottling and that little fine structure to the galaxies. The fact that it has that prominent star in the center of the field of view, it makes it quite easy because you can use the star to work on your observations and getting your peripheral vision to work for you. The magnitude of all the galaxies is from about 12 to magnitude 14, but the fact they're so small, the light is quite attenuated, so they have a good surface brightness to tease them out against that kind of smattering of stars in the background. Some of them are more trickier than others, so it'll be really interesting to hear how you get on with observing this one. But I was able to get NGC 678, 680 and 698, and then there's a couple of more within the field of view that I wasn't able to tease out at the eyepiece, but they did show up in my image. Now, when I was photographing NGC 772, I was using my monochrome camera, the QHY163 mono, and I had my 4 filters on it. That was my IR cut filter for my luminance, and then I had my red, green and blue filters. I spent a few nights trying to get this one. It's been on my list for a long time to capture since I saw a photo of it and saw the actual size, that it was about half the size of the Whirlpool Galaxy. So, you know, it was well within my range with my setup. But the first 2 nights I was itching to get out because it was cloudy for a good while and the skies weren't great, but I was trying to get some data out of it anyways, but it wasn't really working. But on the 3rd night I was able to get a good night of RGB, and then the 4th night then it cleared up really well and I was able to get 6 hours of luminance on it. So when I was putting together the RGB and luminance, I was able to get that detail to the structure with a bit of editing, and it came out quite well. I'm quite happy with it. I'd love to spend more time on it and get more hours, but I mean, to get 10 or so hours between all the filters on this one, I was really happy with it. Now, to observe NGC 772, I was using my 12-inch Dobsonian. I didn't go for my refractor on this one because I just didn't have the amount of nights that I wanted. When Aries comes up after Pegasus, you think you're going to get like 30 or 40 nights observing, but it turned out that I only got a handful. So I was trying to dot around all the galaxies around Pegasus and up near Andromeda. So I did get onto this one eventually with the 12-inch Dob and got a good night of observing in on it. But the night was quite good, so I was able to tease out that arm detail at the eyepiece, which was really nice. I expected not to be able to, just because the sky has been a bit hit and miss with observing lately. But when I did get out, it was a really good night. It was one of those really good winter nights that I got out observing about the end of November into the start of December, and it showed up really well. It's quite faint, but if you give it time at the eyepiece, you will tease out a little bit of that detail. And its little companion below 770 is available as well if you have, I don't know how, I haven't tried any other aperture on it, but with the 12-inch I was able to get it in good sky conditions. So that was the main thing. It was a dark sky and it was good sky condition. So when I was observing this one, I found a really handy trick for observing the NGC 680 group was to just mark down the orientation of those galaxies through your eyepiece, say in Stellarium or something, before you go out. Like, check the images, just mark between that little pairing of stars in the center. If you mark where those galaxies are going to be, it'll give you a much easier time at the eyepiece trying to tease out each of them rather than looking kind of towards stars thinking you're looking at a galaxy. So for my observing sessions on NGC 772, I combined it with the small group of NGC 680 as well. And I was observing, I got 2 decent nights. There was a bit of cloud passing and stuff, but you could still get a good observation in on the locations. But I got one especially good night just near the end where the sky was quite clear, quite transparent, just near the end of November. And I could tease out that structure, that lovely arm that swings round to the east. I was also able to use my Vertivision and just tease out that little tiny glow of NGC 770, which sits south of NGC 772. It's a wonderful little galaxy to observe. It's not, it seems a little smaller than it is when you observe it first. And then once you give yourself a little bit of time, you can start to see the way it kind of fans out, because the core is quite bright compared to the arm structure, so it does take a little bit of time to tease out that bit of detail. So for observing the small group of galaxies up around Aries 1, the NGC 680 group, the first night I tried it, I think I saw 680 maybe, but I wasn't sure because they weren't noted on my star charts. So what I did is I went back and I took a rough photo while I was running data on NGC 772, and then I was able to compare it to the location. I took a rough sketch to take account of the orientation of the dot compared to the photo, and then I was able to mark down where they should be, and then I was able to return them the following night, and I used the map that I had sketched down around the star, and it worked really well. I was able to spot 3 of them. I spotted NGC 680, 678 and 697. IC 167 was just out of my view, but you can see it in the photo. I think there's one more available in the photo. It's just outside the crop on the video, but it's a really interesting little spot to have a look at, and using a sketch is really helpful. So all in all, NGC 772 is a really interesting target to go after. If you have a chance during January, it is well placed in the south, and it's worth taking a look. It might depend on your aperture and depend on how much light pollution you have, whether you can get some detail on it. But if you have observed, say, M74, the Phantom Galaxy in Pisces, which is nearby, if you can see that, you should be able to see NGC 772. They're quite similar on the same night when I was observing, so that core of M74 to NGC 772 are quite similar. So if you can see the Phantom Galaxy, you could probably see NGC 772 as well. It's well worth taking a look. Do let me know if you go observing this or any of the other galaxies I mentioned in the video, and let me know in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching, and until next time, clear skies.